Hey everyone, welcome to Judging for the Win. I'm Dave, and this is my daily ruling. Today's question was suggested anonymously by a viewer. Amy plays a Replenish while her graveyard contains 2 Daybreak Coronets. Given that her Grizzly Bears does not have any enchantments on it when this process starts, would it be possible for Amy to return both Daybreak Coronets to the battlefield attached to her Grizzly Bears? Okay, so Amy is going to be instructed to return all the enchantments from her graveyard, in this case 2 Daybreak Coronets, to the battlefield. Now, usually when something puts an aura on the battlefield, that effect is going to tell you what it should be attached to. However, as you can see, Replenish does not do this. That means that Amy, the person who will control those auras, is the one who gets to decide what they enter the battlefield attached to. However, she doesn't just get to decide whatever she wants. She has to make a decision that is in agreement with the enchantability that those auras have. Now, the other important thing that I want to draw attention to in the rule that I pulled up is that Amy makes this decision as those auras are entering the battlefield. This means that Amy has to declare immediately before the auras actually physically enter the battlefield what they're going to be attached to. Now, immediately before those auras enter the battlefield, does the Grizzly Bears constitute a legal option for the Daybreak Coronet to be attached to? No, it doesn't. Immediately before the Daybreak Coronets enter the battlefield, there will be no auras attached to the Grizzly Bears. And so that means that when Amy has to say what creature that she's attaching the Daybreak Coronets to, that is not an option that she would be able to pick. Also, let's note that Replenish returns all of the enchantments to the battlefield at the same time, as part of the same game event. You can tell that because it only uses the word return once. That means that even if there was some third aura in Amy's graveyard that just had enchant creature, then this play still wouldn't work. All 3 of those auras would be put onto the battlefield at the exact same time. And so that means that immediately before all 3 of those auras got put onto the battlefield, Amy would have to say what card she wanted those Daybreak Coronets to be attached to. The third aura would of course not be any problem at all because it just has enchant creature. But the Daybreak Coronets still are not going to see any auras attached to the Grizzly Bears at the time when Amy is making that decision, so it's still not going to be possible for this to work. Taking this a step further, let's say that Amy had in her graveyard an enchantment creature, such as Lucent Limited. If that was the case, then it would also be entering the battlefield at the same time as all the auras. And that means that it would not be possible to put any of the auras on Lucent Limited, because at the time when Amy has to say what the aura is enchanting, she would not have the Lucent Limited in play on the battlefield just yet. Rather, she makes that decision as the auras are entering the battlefield, which again is immediately before they physically are actually on the battlefield. If you're wondering, this is why effects like Warp World or similar tend to have auras or enchantments last in their own separate step. It's in order to avoid problems like this, where the auras don't have any way to enchant any stuff that's on the battlefield entering at the same time as them. If we have them enter the battlefield as a separate game event that happens just after all the other stuff enters the battlefield, then it makes it a lot easier for you to find something to put those auras attached to. But that's all I have for you today. How did you do? Join me again next time for another daily ruling, but until then, I hope you have a great day.